from Pharaoh, they were not free from themselves. They no longer had Pharaoh the taskmaster ruling over them, but they were still in slavery, because slavery is not only external, slavery can also be internal, and they were slaves to a slavery mindset. Can you say slavery mindset? They still had this slavery mindset. So they find themselves in the wilderness, technically free from the other gods, and they find themselves taking their jewelries and their gold and silver and melting it down, and they replicate the gods of Egypt, and they begin to worship the gods of Egypt in the wilderness. So they had come out from being forced to worship those gods, and now they're free, and they had brought themselves back. They became their own worst enemies. You have to understand that when you get saved, you're delivered from the power of darkness, and it's no longer the devil that has any power bothering you, but it's you yourself that are your biggest adversary. They were their biggest adversary. Their unbelief, their idolatry, their lust, their hard-heartedness, their stiff-neck. They were their biggest adversary, not the devil anymore, not Pharaoh anymore. They were their biggest problem. Do you understand me? So finally, once they deal with their own personal demons, say, deal with your own demons. Hallelujah. And I'm not saying yours, but maybe the one in your generation line, your family line. That one that tries to call you back past the other side of the Red Sea. No, I already came out of the Red Sea. I'm not going to be entangled with that yoke of bondage again. I passed through the Red Sea. I'm not going back to Egypt. So once they begin to deal with their own demons, destiny begins to speak. But in order to reach their destiny, which is across the Jordan, follow me, Hebrew means the people that cross over. The people that cross over, specifically speaking of the Jordan. So now they deal with their own demons, and now they are going to now want to cross the Jordan. But now, to get past the Jordan, they have to face giants. So see, that whole wilderness period is one period of your life. It's even a period of the church if you study church history, but it's also a period of your individual life where you are dealing with your own self, with your own mentality, with the way you used to think, the way you used to respond, the way you used to act. All of that has to be worked out of you, and that's why it should have been just a several days journey to get into the promised land, but God had to keep them going in a circle because he had to work all of that out of them. You think just because you get saved and you give an offering, God's going to make you a millionaire next week. No, honey, because God has to work some stuff out of you. But if you give, you will get back. God will bless you for your seed, but you have to wait a little bit so your seed don't ruin you. So God has to work things out of you. God can't put you on. The Bible says, be careful not to lift up a novice. Why? Because a novice, somebody who's new to things, they'll destroy everybody around them. So God has to send them around the mountain, send them around the mountain, send them around the mountain to work out Egypt. Yes, I'm out of Egypt, but Egypt is still in me. They say you can take someone out of the hood, but you can't take the hood out of somebody from the hood. Am I right? Amen. So it's one thing to come out of a lifestyle, but it's another thing to get that lifestyle out of you. And we find that much of the church, especially here in America, they have gotten saved, but they still smoke and drink and cuss and act and bitter, just like the heathen. And me and my wife, we find that oftentimes we find better Christians that are not even Christians, that are either Buddhist or atheist, and they're better people behaviorally than people who are supposed to be saved. They have more ethics and more love and more caring. Because true enough, the saved people have left Egypt, but they have not got Egypt out of them. and you'll never enter in the promised land until you get Egypt out of you.